Do you know which aircraft carrier is the fastest in the world? Do you think these massive sea beasts, displacing tens of thousands of tons, can only crawl slowly through the water? Then guess how many days it would take our newest carrier, the Fujian, to sail full speed from China to the US? And how long would America's latest Ford class take to reach China? A carrier's speed determines whether it can evade or catch the enemy. The faster it is, the more agile the carrier becomes, and the harder it is for enemy subs and missiles to track it. At the same time, high-speed sailing ensures safer, more efficient carrier aircraft takeoffs and landings. In addition, a carrier's speed directly determines whether the fleet can reach global hotspots in time and deliver strategic deterrence. It also significantly enhances fleet coordination. Rapid maneuvering and formation changes become easier. In short, a carrier's speed is the key to winning strategic naval confrontations. Today, Xinghe will walk you through the 5 fastest aircraft carriers in the world. Let's see how China's carriers compare on the global stage. Ranked 5, India's Vikramaditya aircraft carrier. Coming in 5th is the Indian Navy's Vikramaditya aircraft carrier. Quite a mouthful, but the name actually comes from an ancient Indian emperor. Despite flying the Indian flag today, its origins are Soviet. It was formerly the Admiral Gorshkov, a vintage Soviet relic basically refurbished. Russia sold this mothballed carrier to India back in the day. India gave it an extensive overhaul. It wasn't commissioned until 2013, and that's when it got its current majestic name. To put it bluntly, Vikramaditya is essentially a second-hand carrier, but even a skinny camel is still bigger than a horse. This beast displaces over 40,000 tons. Carrying 30 to 40 aircraft is no problem. But is it fast? Surprisingly, yes. The Vikramaditya is powered by 8 boilers and 4 steam turbines. It runs on a mix of diesel and heavy fuel oil, a real power burner. According to public data, India's 2 current carriers, the Vikramaditya and the domestically built Vikrant, are both conventionally powered. Each displaces about 45,000 tons fully loaded. Their top speed is around 30 knots. What does 30 knots mean? Let's convert that. Roughly 55 kilometers per hour. Don't scoff at it. Think about it. This is a steel leviathan weighing tens of thousands of tons. Reaching 55 kilometers per hour is already quite remarkable. Most commercial ships average just over 20 km/h. This thing is nearly 3 times faster. So despite the Vikramaditya's age, once it's at full throttle, it's no slouch at all. It can reach top speeds of around 30 knots. Ranked 4, the US Nimitz-class aircraft carriers. Next up in 4th place, the Nimitz-class carriers. Technically speaking, this isn't a single ship, but an entire class of US aircraft carriers that began service in the 1970s. 10 ships in total, like the USS Nimitz, USS Ronald Reagan, USS Lincoln, USS Washington, all named after us presidents or famous generals. No need to list them all. These Nimitz-class carriers are the backbone of the US Navy's carrier fleet. They've served for decades. All are nuclear-powered. Each displaces nearly 100,000 tons. And being nuclear, they don't need refueling. Once those nuclear reactors are running, they deliver continuous power. In theory, these carriers can operate indefinitely without refueling. Their endurance is absolutely formidable. So what about speed? Official data is often vague. They say things like in excess of 30 knots. But rumors suggest that Nimitz-class carriers can reach nearly 35 knots at full throttle, roughly 65 kilometers per hour. How fast is that? Even the US Navy brags about it. They claim their carriers are so fast that submarines can't even catch up. A somewhat exaggerated statement. At top speed, the carrier could outrun most submarines underwater. Just imagine a 100,000-ton ship leaving a submarine in the dust. What a sight that would be. So despite its massive size, The Nimitz class can truly sprint when needed. Let's look at a real-world example. The fastest among the class is said to be the USS George H.W. Bush. During sea trials, it reportedly exceeded 30 knots. Over 30 knots, what does that mean? Roughly the speed of a car on the highway. And that's on a stretch with no speed limit. Compared to the earlier 55 km/h we mentioned, this thing can hit over 60 km/h. That's no idle boast about its carrier speed. Their battle doctrine emphasizes rapid force projection. The faster the carrier moves, the quicker it can reach any ocean theater worldwide. Ranked 3, USS Gerald R. Ford, United States. In third place, we have the latest generation American carrier, the USS Ford. Its full name is Gerald R. Ford-class-led ship. Why is another US carrier ranked right after the Nimitz class? Mainly because, despite its advanced systems, the Ford doesn't actually outpace its predecessor by much. It still hovers just above the 30-knot mark. After all, the Ford class and Nimitz class are roughly the same in displacement. Both are 100,000-ton supercarriers. Physics still applies. Pushing more speed is extremely difficult. That said, it does have a more powerful power plant. The Ford is powered by the next-gen A-1B nuclear reactors. Reportedly, they produce nearly 3 times the output of Nimitz reactors. What's that power for? Partly to propel the ship, but also to support the carrier's numerous high-tech systems. For example, one of Ford's major innovations is its electromagnetic aircraft launch system, EMLS. To put it simply, it uses electromagnetic force to launch aircraft. Compared to steam catapults, it's smoother and requires less manpower, but it consumes a massive amount of electricity. Without strong nuclear power, it's unworkable. It's said that Ford has such abundant onboard power that it's fully capable of supporting future railguns or laser weapons. Long story short, the Ford completely outclasses the previous generation in terms of technology. But back to the topic, we're talking about speed. According to the US Navy's conservative numbers, it's 30 knots. Sea trials show it can hit around 35 miles per hour at top speed. That's just a little over 30 knots. So its top speed is on par with the Nimitz class. To the naked eye, there's barely any difference. So if you pit the Ford against the Nimitz class in a race, it'd probably be a tie. But considering the Ford is currently the most advanced active carrier in the world, we'll rank it ahead of its predecessor. So it takes third place. Rank 2, China's Fujian-class aircraft carrier. In second place is China's newest carrier, the Fujian. The Fujian is China's third aircraft carrier, and it's the largest domestically built carrier to date. It's quite impressive. The world's first conventionally powered aircraft carrier using EMLS. What does that mean? It's not nuclear powered. It runs on fuel, but it still uses electromagnetic catapults, just like those on the USS Ford. This represents a massive leap forward for China. Previously, the Liaoning and Shandong used ski jump ramps for takeoff. Aircraft had to accelerate off an inclined deck. Now, the Fujian uses flat-deck catapult launches. It's like launching jets with a massive slingshot. Much more efficient. Of course, this puts heavy demand on the Fujian's power and electrical systems. Fortunately, our design is solid. All challenges have been overcome. Back to its speed, although still undergoing sea trials. It's widely estimated that Fujian's top speed exceeds 30 knots. Some believe that due to its larger size and weight, over 80,000 tons fully loaded. And since it's not nuclear powered, its top speed may be similar to the Shandong, roughly around 30 to 31 knots. Some bolder estimates claim that optimized design and new propulsion systems might let it hit 35 knots. That's equivalent to about 65 km/h. If true, that would be jaw-dropping. But let's stay conservative. Realistically, Fujian's max speed is probably around 30 to 31 knots. Even so, that's already an impressive feat. Conventional powered carriers used to struggle to exceed 30 knots. The fact that the massive Fujian can exceed that proves how far China's shipbuilding has come. Here's an interesting detail. Why didn't the Fujian use nuclear power? Experts say it's partly because our reactor tech still needs validation, and partly to avoid delays while waiting for nuclear breakthroughs. A strategic trade-off, essentially. So conventional propulsion needs refueling? Yes, but the Fujian is a large vessel. Its onboard fuel capacity is substantial. Its range reportedly exceeds 10,000 nautical miles. So sailing from China to the other side of the globe only requires a few mid-sea refuels from supply ships. All carrier strike groups are accompanied by replenishment ships. No need to worry about that. Ranked 1. China's Shandong-class aircraft carrier. The title of world's fastest aircraft carrier. You might expect it to belong to a US nuclear carrier. But as of now, that title actually goes to China's Shandong. Shandong is China's second aircraft carrier. It entered service at the end of 2019. It's the first domestically built carrier, based on improvements over the Liaoning. During Shandong's design and construction, China upgraded the propulsion system. According to open sources, Shandong displaces about 70,000 tons fully loaded, slightly more than the Liaoning. But its top speed hits 31 knots, roughly 57 kilometers per hour. What does 31 knots mean? It places the Shandong in the top tier of current carriers worldwide. US carriers are rated around 30 knots. Britain's latest Queen Elizabeth class goes only 25 knots. France's nuclear-powered Charles de Gaulle barely reaches 27 knots. Yet Shandong, a conventionally powered carrier, manages 31 knots. That's a surprising achievement to many military fans. Many Western analysts speculate the Shandong's engines may be significantly improved over the Liaoning's, allowing it to squeeze out an extra knot or two at full speed. Whatever the case, 31 knots is currently the fastest confirmed carrier speed on record, and the holder of that record is the Shandong. No hype or exaggeration. At first, attention focused on Shandong's aircraft operations and pilot training. Few realized its propulsion performance was also noteworthy. But once the data came out, people started saying, whoa, turns out the Shandong's a real speedster. And a fast carrier means fast redeployment and quick response. Even evasion becomes faster. During sea trials, Shandong reportedly created massive wake. When cruising at high speed, it was a spectacular sight. Just imagine this giant sprinting across the ocean. It's enough to stir anyone's blood. Currently, Shandong operates mainly in regional waters, occasionally heading out for blue water exercises. Now that we've covered 5 carriers, do you have a new understanding of carrier speeds? Despite their massive size, they can really move when needed. Now, for the question we raised at the beginning. Time to reveal the answer. How long would it take for the Fujian to reach the US at full speed? And how long would the Ford take to reach China? In fact, both the Fujian and Ford have top speeds just over 30 knots, pretty much neck and neck. So their Pacific crossing times would be about the same. Take Shanghai Port to Los Angeles Port as an example. That's around 5,600 nautical miles apart, roughly 10,400 kilometers. At Tatlumpu knots non-stop cruising, about 30 nautical miles per hour. They could theoretically cover 720 nautical miles per day. 5,600 divided by 720 per day. That's around 78 days. In other words, less than 8 days for a carrier to cross from the Western to the Eastern Pacific. That's pure sailing time under ideal conditions. No stops. The Fujian might need to refuel on the way, while the Ford doesn't, but its crew still needs rest. But those things are handled during underway replenishment. No major delays to the voyage. So even conservatively, neither would take more than 10 days to reach the other's doorstep. Sound impressive, right? By comparison, a conventional cargo ship from China takes about a month to reach the US. A carrier at full throttle? Just over a week. A true ocean sprint. Of course, in real missions, a carrier wouldn't speed solo like that. It must stay in sync with its strike group. Also depends on tasking and timing. Still, this gives you a clear picture just how fast modern carriers can maneuver. Fujian and Ford, as flagship giants of China and the US, can visit each other's waters in just 7 to 8 days. It proves aircraft carriers truly earned their title mobile territory.